Hello students, today I am going to share with you the methods of communication and we are going to understand the concept and classification of methods of communication. A method, this is a procedure or a process for attaining an objective. The choice of a channel or method of communication is also known as extension method. Generally depends on the number and location of the target audience and the time available for communication. They are categorized as individual method, group method and mass method. The extension methods are the tools and techniques used to create situations in which communication can take place between the rural people and the extension workers. They are the methods of extending new knowledge and skills to the rural people by drawing their attention towards them, arousing their interest and helping them to have a successful experience of the new practice. A proper understanding of these methods and their selection for a particular type of work are necessary. Now, classification of methods in development communication. One way of classifying the extension methods is according to their use and nature of contact. In other words, they are used for contacting people individually or in groups or in masses. Based upon the nature of contact, they are divided into individual method, group method and mass method, as I told you earlier. Under the individual contact methods, there are methods like farm and home visit, farmer's call, personal letter, adaptive or mini kit trial method, farm clinic and result demonstration. Under the group methods, there are method demonstration, group meeting, small group training program, field days, farmers days, study tours. And under the mass contact methods, we have farm publications, mass meetings, campaigns, exhibitions, newspapers and also radio and television methods, which can be usually employed for the sake of contacting the farmers or as well as the rural women. Under the individual contact methods, we can understand that they are to provide the opportunities for face to face and personal contact or person to person contact between the rural people and the extension workers. These methods are very effective in teaching new skills and creating goodwill between farmers and the extension workers. The group contact methods, the rural people and farmers are contacted in group which usually consists of 20 to 25 persons. These groups are usually formed around the common interest. These methods also involve a face to face contact with the people and provide an opportunity for exchange of ideas, for discussions on problems and technical recommendations and finally for deciding the future course of action also. Mass or community contact methods are mainly employed by the extension worker so as to approach the people or the public in a larger number of masses for disseminating new information and helping them to use it conveniently. These methods are more useful for making people aware of the new technologies quickly. So, in this method, the extension agent communicates with the people individually, maintaining separate identity of each person. The method of applicability is followed when the number of people will be contacted and they will be few in number, conveniently located close to the communicator and there will be sufficient time available for communication. I have already given the examples such as the farm and home visit, farmer's call, personal letters, farmer's call, office call, farm clinic, adaptive or mini kit trial methods, etc. Under the farm and home visit, it is a direct face to face contact by the extension agent with the farmer or the homemaker at the farm or even sometimes at home for the sake of the extension work that need to be carried out. The farmer's call is a call made by the farmer or homemaker at the working place of the extension agent for obtaining information and assistance. The personal letter is written by the extension agent to particular farmer or homemaker in connection with the extension work. This should not be regarded as a substitute for personal contact. And the farmer's clinic is a facility developed and extended to the farmers for diagnosis and treatment of farm problems and to provide some specialist advice to individual farmers. There is also adaptive or mini kit trial method, which is for the determining the suitability or otherwise of a new practice in farmer situation. The advantages of all these individual contact methods are to help the extension agent in building rapport, facilitate gaining first-hand knowledge of farm and home, helping in selection of demonstrators and local leaders, helps in changing attitude of the people, helps in teaching complex practices, facilitates transfer of technologies, enhances effectiveness of group and mass contacts, facilitates getting feedback information also. But there are some limitations, such as this method is time consuming and relatively expensive also, has low coverage of audience, and the extension agent may develop favoritism or bias towards some persons only. Coming to the group contact methods in detail, it is nothing but contacting as an aggregate of a small number of people in reciprocal communication and interaction around some common interest. In this method, the extension agent communicates with the people in groups and not as individual persons. Regarding the applicability of this method, it is adopted when it is necessary to communicate with a number of people simultaneously who are located not far off from the communicator. And the examples are method and result demonstration, general meetings, group discussions with lectures, panels, symposium, group interviews, forum, debate, workshop, seminar, conference, bus sessions, brainstorming, small group trainings like field days or farmer days, study tours and field trips. The demonstrations are the oldest and best and simplest tools for transmitting sophisticated technology in a simple and understandable form. Small group training is a technique of imparting specific skills to a group of people who need them by creating an appropriate learning situation. And the demonstrations may be of two types: method demonstrations and result demonstrations. Method demonstration is essentially skill training given for a group of people to show how to carry out an entirely new practice or an old practice in a better way. And the result demonstration is a method of motivating the people for adoption of a new practice by showing it distinctly with a superior result. And the general meetings, they include all kind of meetings held by the extension workers, and among these there are group meetings, which are method of democratically arriving at a certain decisions by a group of people by taking into consideration the members' points of view. They can also called discussion meetings, such as lecture forums, discussion forums, panel discussions, symposiums, group interviews, forum dialogue or public conversation, debate discussion and workshops. Lecture method is giving lecture on various aspects of a subject in which he wants the students to learn. Panel discussion is an informal conversation put on for the benefits of the audience by a small group of people, 2 to 8 in number. Symposium is a short series of lectures, usually by 2 or 5 speakers, each with different viewpoints. Audience are encouraged addressing questions and comments. A group interview where the leader interviews persons on a platform, followed by leader dominated panel discussion, and an excellent way for getting information from the experts. Forum dialogue is usually 2 volunteers selected from audience discuss a question on which they may or may not have opposite views, followed by discussion. In debate, discussion also teams of usually 2 or 3 persons discuss controversial subjects and each speaker speaks for the allotted time. In workshops, a special type of working conference of a week or more duration, there are lectures, individual conferences and emphasis on working groups. Work sessions are also arranged under the guidance of consultants. Seminars are short-term training programs arranged for a few days, a day or 2 maximum 3 days. Seminars are convened to have in-depth discussion on a subject from the view of various viewpoints. And conference is where all the members are expected to have more or less equal knowledge. It varies between 2 or 3 days, maximum of 5 days. It is a methodology suited to executives and senior officers in dealing with the complex problem which requires the contribution from senior officers to solve the same problem. There are also bus sessions. This is with a large group when there is limited time for discussion. The audience may be divided into smaller units for a shorter period. There is also brainstorming, which is a type of small group interaction designed to encourage the free introduction of ideas on an unrestricted basis and without any limitations to feasibility. Participants are encouraged to list for a period of time all the ideas that come to their minds regarding some problems and are asked not to judge the outcome. Small group training is a technique of imparting specific skills to a group of people who need them by creating an appropriate learning situation. Field days or farmers' days, which is also a method of motivating the people to adopt a new practice by showing what has actually been achieved by applying the practice under field conditions. There are also study tours, which is a visit of group of interested persons accompanied and guided by one or more extension agents out of the neighborhood to study and learn significant improvements in farm and home elsewhere. There are also field trips, which are excellent means of providing opportunities to participants to observe and experience things, objects, activities in natural settings. When the participants are exposed to real world, they get first hand experience and can relate their practical experience with theory. Regarding the advantages of group contact methods, they enable the extension agent to have face to face contact with a number of people at a time. They can reach a select part of the target group, facilitate sharing of knowledge and experience and thereby strengthen learning of the group members. They reach fewer people, but offer more opportunities for interaction and feedback. They also satisfy the basic urge of people for social contacts, motivate people to accept change due to group influence. They are more effective than mass methods in stimulating action. They are less expensive than individual methods due to more coverage. Coming to the limitations, there is wide diversity in the interest of group members, which may create a difficult learning situation. Holding a meeting may be regarded as an objective in itself. There can be vested interests, caste groups and village factions which hinder free interaction and decision making by the group members also in this method. The next method is mass contact methods. In this method, the extension agent communicates with a vast and heterogeneous mass of people without taking into consideration of their individual and group identity. And the method of applicability is adopted where a large and widely dispersed audience is to be communicated within a shorter time. For example, there are campaigns, exhibitions, mass meetings, newspapers through which the public will be contacted, and also through radio and television. A campaign is an intense educational activity for motivating and mobilizing a community to action. to solve a problem or satisfy a need urgently felt by it. A campaign may be for a single day on a theme like Water for Life, for a few weeks as in family planning, for a few months as in Vanamahotsava campaign, and for a few years as in Grow More Food campaign. And another type is exhibition. This is a systematic display of models, specimens, charts, photographs, pictures, posters, information, etc. in a sequence around a theme to create awareness and interest in the community. Though an exhibition is organized around a major theme, other related themes and some unrelated themes like entertainment may also be included to make the people get attracted towards the exhibition. Farmers' fairs or Kisan Melas held in which field visit, training programs are also combined with exhibition, and that becomes more effective and popular. The mass meetings are held to communicate interesting and useful information to a larger audience at the same time, and the size of the audience for mass meeting may be a few hundreds, but at the time of fairs and festivals it may be a few thousands also. And the dramatization aspect. Dramatization is a substitute for the real experience in the mass contact methods, and the essential process of communication in which both participant and the spectator are engaged. Drama is a theatrical performance around the theme by some people who have rehearsed for it. There are many types of dramatized experiences such as plays through radio and television, pageants, a type of community drama usually based on local history presented by local actors and produced out of doors. Talking doll restricted to the availability of an expert ventriloquist who not only project his own voice, but is also able to manipulate the movement of the doll to synchronize with the voice. There is also puppetry like shadow, rod, finger, stick, glow puppets and marionettes and psychodrama, social drama, role playing are the best examples for this dramatizing aspect. Coming to the advantages of mass contact methods, they are very much suitable for creating general awareness among the people, and it helps in transferring knowledge and forming and changing opinions. Large number of people may be communicated within a shorter time and facilitates quick communication in terms of emergency. So, it reinforces previous learning, and also naturally it is less expensive because of more coverage. Coming to the limitations of mass contact methods, it is less intensive method, and there is a little scope for personal contact with the audience, and there is also little opportunity for interaction with the audience and among the audience. Generalized recommendations hinder application by the individuals, and there is little control over the response of the audience also. There is also lots of difficulty in getting the feedback of information and evaluation of results, because there will not be any direct audience in this method. Coming to the aspect of selection and use of methods in development communication, there is no rule of a thumb. It cannot be given for the selection and use of these various extension methods to ensure success in all situations. However, some guiding principles will be helpful in general, and we must reach more people, teach them more often, and keep down the cost of the contact. In order to get most effective results, the extension worker should select the appropriate methods, have a suitable combination of the selected methods, use them in a proper sequence so as to have repetition in a variety of ways. Regarding the audience, we have to think some factors keeping in our mind in selection of the methods. The first and foremost is individual and collective differences of the people whom you contact. The people vary greatly in their knowledge, attitude, skills, position in diffusion and adoption, educational training, their age, income level, social status, religious beliefs, etc. Some are eye-minded, while other are ear-minded also. These individual and collective differences influence the teaching approach also. So, people with little or no education and low income may respond to personal visits and result demonstration techniques. People with better education may respond to group meetings and discussions, exhibitions and written materials. Coming to the size of audience, group discussion cannot be used effectively for more than 30 participants. Method demonstration can be used for relatively small audience. Lecture can be used for larger audience. So, we need to also remember and keep in mind regarding the teaching objective selection also. The nature of change aimed at, is it thinking, attitude or action, that is to be taken care of. And you can also take into consideration how to arrive at a consensus of opinion and arrange a group discussion also. And through that you can just come to one consensus regarding one objective and you can then proceed. Regarding the subject matter, if a new practice is simple or familiar than news article, radio are the most effective. For complex practices, face-to-face contacts, written materials and audiovisual aids are more effective. Regarding the stage of development of extension organization, this is still in the initial stage in the country, and also if organization is in initial stages of extension, result demonstration is necessary to gain confidence. Size of the extension staff also plays a greater role in selection and use of these methods. It is in relation to the extension clientele, the larger the number of the extension workers, the greater the scope for direct or personal contact method. The availability of certain communication media like newspapers, telephone, radio also will be affected for the selection of the type of methods. And also the amount to be spended upon these methods also will affect the type of method. An extension worker's familiarity also plays a great role, and he may be in a position to influence the choice and use of methods also, and that also will be very much playing role in the selection of these methods. But usually any extension worker, he tries to employ these methods with a combination of methods. Like for example, as the number of methods of exposure to the extension information increases, the number of farm families changing the behavior increases. When it is coming to the percentages of imparting the information or change in the people, seeing and doing plays an important role, but it gives only 6.67% up to the information. Seeing, doing and hearing together gives 37.49%. Seeing, doing, hearing with reinforcement of reading gives up to 49.29%. Seeing, doing, hearing reinforced by reading and personal contacts, it stands until 69.99%. Seeing, doing, hearing reinforced by reading, personal contacts, more hearing and again seeing, it gives up to 78.69%. And lastly, seeing, doing, hearing reinforced by reading and also personal contacts, more hearing, seeing and some amount of indirect influence also gives up to 100% of change in the behavior of the individuals. So, using these methods in proper sequence always includes the methods that enable our farmers to see, hear and do the things to be learned, enable to reach large number of people and create confidence in themselves. In order to get most effective results, the extension worker should select the appropriate methods, have a suitable combination of the selected methods, use them in a proper sequence, so as to have repetition in a variety of ways. A proper understanding of these methods and their selection for a particular type of work are always necessary for efficiently communicating to the rural masses to bring change in the knowledge, attitudes and behavior of the people. With this, I conclude the lesson about methods of communication in extension. Any questions?
Ma'am, I have a question. Are the individual methods viable?
Yes, of course. All these extension workers who are being employed in panchayat organizations in the villages are being thoroughly trained in all these methods, and they will be given continuous information about the latest methods also, and also simultaneously the technologies, so that they will be using these methods and they have to invariably employ these methods, then only they will get the success in rural development. Any more questions? With this, I conclude the lesson about methods of communication. Thank you.